on the Daily Wire. Yeah, it's the one and only Candace Owens joins me. Candace, welcome to GBN America.
What a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Not at all. Now, between our two countries over the centuries, we've exported many things to you and you've exported many things to us. And I always think when it comes to trends and food and all the things we do, America generally does things first and we do things second. But a recent export from the United Kingdom to America is a young couple.
Okay.
They were part of the royal family. They were their Royal Highnesses. They're now just the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. And we've exported them, Candace, to you. And they're living happily on the west coast of America. And it would seem that after the quite shock cancer diagnosis of the King, that Harry only spent 24 hours in the country, a half-hour meeting.
Stop it.
With his dad, no reconciliation with his brother, and he's coming back to you in America. Are you pleased to see him return?
We are not pleased to see him return. We certainly were not pleased to see him here at all. I was very content with them being put in Canada, but I obviously knew that they would end up in LA because that was Meghan's dream. Her dream was to be an A-lister, and she was unable to make it to those A-list parties.
Wait for it.
The basis of her own merit as an actress. You know, she wasn't a very good actress. And so she figured out how to maneuver that by marrying a prince who, the only way to say it is he's just not as intelligent as her. He's not reading the situation as clearly as other people are reading it. And he has been subjected to her manipulation. And I do also want to say this because it's really important of why their story became so big. And
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
You know, her using the Black Lives Matter movement, which was very big at that time before people started to understood that really what they were advocating for were Marxist principles. It's why she became the princess of BLM, because, you know, what's one of the biggest principles of Marxism?
Stop it.
The breakdown of family. Black Lives Matter on their charter stated that they wanted to deconstruct the nuclear family. Well, Meghan Markle wanted to deconstruct a family, right? And she was going to pretend that it was for something noble, racism. It wasn't so. It was really because she wanted fame and she wanted wealth. And, you know, I don't want to say that Prince Harry was an unwitting participant. I think he obviously is not as smart as her, but also he liked the fame and he liked the attention in a certain way as well. And we had a very, very, very sad circumstance that played out here. So I'm not entirely shocked that he didn't spend that much time with his father. I have not been holding my breath for them to unify as a family, because some of the things that were done, you know, quite literally selling your family for profit, it's unheard of. But it's a Marxist belief that there's something more noble. There's something that the state wants you to believe in that's more noble. And in that circumstance, it's racism must be fought.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
But in reality, what's buried underneath is a state incentive to make people disloyal to the people that they should be the most loyal to. So no sympathy for Prince Harry, but a lot of sympathy for King Charles.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult for the Queen to forgive him. It's very difficult for William and Kate to forgive him, given the awful things he wrote about them in that book, Spare. I guess if he was to apologise, then forgiveness might follow. And there were certainly some in this country, Candace, hoping for reconciliation.
Stop it.
But, you know, your thesis is that basically she's using him. She's using the fact that he's a British prince, and it's all about her. Now, what I'm interested in, is it just about money? Because they appear to have been paid a lot of money, in many cases for not producing very much content. Is it just about money and fame? Or do you think, Candace Owens, that somewhere within Meghan there are political ambitions?
Very good question.
I actually don't believe that there are any political ambitions there, mostly because she's simply not well liked, right? And she's not a very good actress. I saw right through it from the very beginning when she was pretending she was going to stay in the royal family.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
I was the first commentator that said, this woman is going to make it back to Los Angeles. I just saw her coming. So she's not that shrewd. And unfortunately, right now, that sort of politicking is not finding a home in America. We don't want bad faith actors. We don't want a bunch of people that are going to opine about racism and sexism and misogyny. We want people that are being honest about the fact that we have a lot of issues in this country and we're not going to beat them by hating one another. And so she's not a perfect fit. Like I said, she caught a moment and there was very much a government incentive to cause so much division with BLM, but she's not going to run in politics. She's very happy where she is in a multi-million-dollar mansion, lunching with Oprah. That was her dream, and she got it.
No, you may be right. I mean, I must admit, I'd always thought there was a political ambition, but maybe you're right. And yet, you know, when it comes to whichever company they work with, Netflix, whoever it is, they've been paid all these large sums of money to produce little content or a load of rubbish. At what point does Los Angeles wake up and say, you know,
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
what? These guys are no good.
I think that's starting to happen now. I mean, the executive over at Spotify pretty much said that these are a bunch of lazy people with bad ideas that feel entitled to money. It's the ultimate entitlement is what you're taking a look at. And I don't know if any person listening to this program actually took the time to listen to the podcast that she produced on Spotify. I did. It was a source of great humor for me. And I played some of those tidbits on the show. It's weird. It's raspy. It's her talking about her dreams, talking about, you know, the patriarchy and feminism and just all of the buzzwords that get you invited to the right parties in LA. But there's no substance behind it. And as I said, the reason why it failed is because people want authenticity. And unfortunately, they aren't getting that from this couple anymore. So they're just going to keep being shuffled from award show to award show, given awards for basically doing absolutely nothing but acquiescing to a government narrative. It's quite pathetic. And it's sad because Harry was so well liked. You know, he was kind of like the bad boy prince. People liked him because he seemed so authentic. And now
he was loved.
He really was.
Yeah,
he was. I loved him.
He was the good looking. He was good looking. He was.
Oh my God!
Was charming. He did his tours in Afghanistan. He was in the front line. He was fun. He had lots of pretty girlfriends. He'd go down to the pub. He'd do things Candace, that most young lads. Are you serious? Either do or would like to do. I think actually, and I remember asking my daughters when they were teenagers, early teenagers, what they thought of the royal family. And they both said, oh, the royal family, it's so cool.
Oh my God!
Now, I'd never thought of the royal family as cool, but Harry did make it cool, didn't he?
He did make it cool. And then all of that went away and he became very whiny and he went the way of what we call modern psychotherapy, where therapists sit across from you and tell you that every little thing that ever happened to you makes you a special victim. And no matter how horrendous you act, once you receive that status of victimhood, everyone must understand. And that was the thing for me that I thought was just so disgusting, was, utilizing Princess Diana, someone who was very well loved in America, and pretending that you were speaking for her from the grave, which is something that Meghan Markle did. This
abomination, another religion. There's respect for Islam.
Well, I respect Muslims very much, Piers. But
you don't. You call their religion an abomination.
We must separate ideas from people, Piers.
Well, hang on. Listen, on your website, you say Islam is an abomination. That's not respecting a religion.
Well,
it's the opposite of respecting a religion.
No, I disagree very much with Islam, Piers.
That's fine. It's entirely your prerogative. Yeah. I'm just saying that if you want to be a teacher, is it compatible with being a teacher to have a personal website which lists a series of abominations, including the right to be gay, the right to have an abortion, legal pornography?
What?
Islam, another massive religion with 1.5 billion people. It just seems to me if I was a parent at that school and I read that on your website, I would be concerned. Fact.
Well, I think it's up to parents to look these things up if they want to, but all parents that I've had interactions with would say that I'm a very respectable man and I'm always did the job at hand. But I think in our free society, you'd think that I'd be able to share those things outside the classroom.
You now go into the street and you talk. Let's watch a little clip of what you do.
Okay.
That there is one way into heaven. His name is Jesus Christ. This is an urgent plea with your spirit, man. I'm not just talking to your minds. I'm talking to your spirit, to your heart, that you might be awoken from the death of this generation, that you might be shaken out of the depths of darkness and into the glorious light of the kingdom of God.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
I mean, again, I'm not sure I'd feel that comfortable about having a teacher of my young kid who's out there doing that every weekend. Why? Why?
You know, it's pretty orthodox Christian beliefs that I'm...
It's fine, but you're a teacher out there basically ranting away on the street. It wouldn't lend itself to most parents to think that that is entirely compatible with teaching kids.
Is he all right upstairs?
Well, you'd have to see me in the classroom, Piers. I'm a good practitioner.
When were you last in a classroom?
Yeah, well, 3 or 4 years ago now.
Do you want to teach again?
I'd love to teach again. I enjoy teaching. My dad's a teacher, and I've... You know,
what does your dad make of all this?
He supports me, yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Does he agree with all your views?
Well, he's a Christian himself, Piers. He was an RE. He was an RE teacher for 30 years.
But does he agree that all these things are abominations?
Well, Piers, this is biblical teaching. It shouldn't be a surprise to you or anyone else that...
No, but like I said, the Bible also teaches people to stone people to death, but we don't do that in
that's the
civilized places anymore.
That's the penalty for sin, Piers, but Jesus...
So for adultery, you would...
died on the
well,
cross
just to clarify then, for adultery, you think it's right to stone people to death?
Boy.
I think that...
As they do in Saudi Arabia, for example. Do you?
All sin deserves the death penalty. And Jesus...
So adultery is a sin?
Let me finish, please.
Well, hang on. Is adultery a sin?
It's an important point.
Is adultery a sin?
Jesus died on the cross for sinners. He took the place
Joshua,
of sin.
is adultery a sin?
Stop it. Get some help.
Yes.
So you want to execute everyone who's committed adultery?
All sin, all 613 commandments, all sin is punishable by death.
Right. Joshua, that's nuts, mate.
And that's what the Bible
And that's the
teaches,
problem, you
Piers.
see.
Piers.
You start off, you had me at the start.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
You had me about the pronoun issue because I think it's incredibly complicated. And I also have a big concern about a number of kids who are basically putting their hands up saying, I'm a woman, I'm a girl, I'm a boy when they're not, and so on.
Okay.
But this stuff is nuts, mate. If you're going to say that everyone who's a sinner by the rule of the Bible has to be killed, there's no one left.
Deserves the
There's only you left, and I don't feel comfortable about a world with only Joshua Sutcliffe alive.
Don't be silly. I am the worst of sinners.
What is he doing?
Piers.
Well, why are you still alive?
Because Christ has died for sinners.
Huh?
He took the place.
Yeah, but by your yardstick, you should be executed.
Yes, I should be.
Who by?
God, he's the judge of all.
Fact. No, but you're gonna go and submit yourself for execution? Or?
No, but Jesus it's called penal substitution.
Huh?
It's a theological point.
Joshua, it's nuts.
It's the substitution of Christ for sinners, Piers.
Joshua, it's nuts.
And
unfortunately,
you feel that
when you talk that way, it disqualifies you in my eyes from being a teacher. Not the pronoun stuff. On that, I'm with you. On this stuff, it's nuts.
Is he all right upstairs?
We should be in a free society, Piers.
Totally. And you're, by the way, allowed to have as many nutty views as you like. I just don't think...
nutty in your opinion. I think your opinion is nutty.
In 99% of the entire planet, your views are nutty.
In your world, maybe, but not
People
in the
don't
world
think
at
that
large,
everyone who
Piers.
commits adultery should be executed tomorrow.
What do you mean by that?
No. This is what the Bible teaches.
Greed, gluttony, all those things.
Sin is sin.
So anyone's greedy gets executed. Anyone who's gluttonous gets executed. Have too many donuts. Joshua Sutcliffe says you wheeled off to the...
This is what the Bible teaches.
To be put to death.
And this isn't really being taught in our generation.
No, there's a reason it's not taught in our generation.
What?
But Christ
This is
is
completely-
the perfect sacrifice for sin.
Yes, I know. Jesus Christ did sacrifice himself. But you don't think Jesus Christ will be sitting here today at my desk saying every single person who commits an act of greed or gluttony or adultery should be summarily executed.
Boy.
If you do think that, you have a very warped idea of what actually the Bible is supposed to mean.
No, I think what's happened is you've got your own view of what the Bible says, but you haven't really ever been told what the Bible says.
I've read the Bible. I was actually given spiritual guidance by Catholic nuns when I was 11 years old.
That doesn't make sense.
For a couple of years. So I'm very, very, very savvy with the Bible.
Things.
But honestly, when I hear people say that for all these sins, you've got to be put to death eats nuts. So for that, you shouldn't be teaching.
Well, Christ has taken our place, Piers, and I think I should be in.
Well, unfortunately, someone from YMCA is about to take your place.
What the hell?
On the show, I'm afraid, and that's it. But good to see you.
All right.
Thank you, Joshua Sutcliffe. Uncensored next, the village people are taking on Donald Trump over his unauthorised use of their iconic anthems.
Okay.
A village person will debate that with me live if he hasn't sinned too much in the break.